Sri Ram says, the Atma is certainly different from the body, senses, mind, and prana. It is blissful, supreme, non dual, permanent, formless, sinless, and pure. The moment this realization comes to you, you are liberated. Try and understand these very significant words which Ram is saying. Sri Ram says that the inner richness of our world, the inner richness of the Atma, is far greater, infinitely greater than what we perceive to be ourself. We perceive ourselves to be composed of body, senses, mind, prana. But it is the Atman, it is the inner world, which is blissful, supreme, non-dual, pure. And the moment this realization comes to you, you are liberated, says Sri Ram. It is as if, for the first time, you have awoken to the greater reality of yourself. So far, you have been carrying the idea of the mind-body complex. You have been carrying the idea of the ego within you. And all this has created a struggle between your true self and what you perceive yourself to be. Because the ego is a very small phenomenon. The Atman is a very large phenomenon. The ego seems real. The ego comprised of our sense of personality, character, and so on. The Atman seems unreal because it is subtle. But actually, the subtle is more real. For example, the earth is revolving around its axis, then it is also revolving around the sun. It is rotating on its axis. But we don't seem to feel the rotation. A person can live his whole lifetime without actually experiencing the spinning of the earth. But the fact is, it is spinning and it is moving around the sun at great velocity. All this is happening, but we don't experience it in our day-to-day life. That does not mean that it is not there. So the more important phenomenon that is taking place is actually kind of taken for granted by us in life. And in the same way is the Atman not perceived by us. The same way that we are not able to perceive our vaster reality on this cosmic plane is the same way that we are not able to perceive the Atman. It's very simple. You see, if you understand it like this, then it becomes extremely simple to understand. There's nothing about, no mumbo jumbo hocus pocus about religion, spirituality, and so on. And if you want to be blissful, if you want to feel truly eternal, truly timeless, truly filled with a subtle energy that is pumping through your veins, that is your very heartbeat, that is the very basis of yourself, then you have to understand this action of the Atman, this greater action of the soul. And when you awaken to that, it is as if all your yesterdays have been filled only with the dreams of the sunrise, but for the first time you're seeing the sunrise in actuality. You see, sometimes you go out onto a mountaintop or you go onto the beach and you see the sunrise. No matter how hard you have visualized it in your imagination, but the actual seeing of the sunrise is what is transformative, is what is beautiful. And in the similar way is the perception of the Atman. And the moment you see that sunrise of the Atman, the moment you realize it, you become liberated, you become mukt, you attain to mukti. And mukti implies what? Mukti implies that all your hidden potentiality starts coming to the fore. All that is within you starts becoming possible. Virtue and vice, hatred and love, joy and sorrow stop having any meaning. Everything seems imbued with a great bliss. Everything seems imbued with a great fulfillment. Life itself becomes enough. Your own wisdom is freed from its shackles of ignorance. And that freeing of wisdom from its shackles of ignorance itself brings the Jivan Mukta state, the state of utter freedom, the state of utter bliss, the state where you transcend all ideologies, where you move on to a deeper truth of yourself, where you come to the final frontier of your being. That final frontier is very deep within you, but it exists in actuality. Imagine for a second that you're utilizing your senses, you're utilizing your body, you're utilizing your mind to go deep within yourself. The senses are usually focused outside. But to find the action of the Atman, the rishis recommend that we focus the senses inside. So the eyes, your vision gets turned inward. Your hearing gets turned inward. Your sense of taste, your sense of smell, all the organs of senses become inwardly attuned. That is the meditative state that Sri Ram is indicating towards. And through that, you find that that which we symbolically call the soul is actually within you, because your senses become alert to a higher consciousness which is watching them, which is behind them. So the eyes, when they are focused inward, you'll see that there's an inner watcher within you. The eye of wisdom. When you hear, you'd hear the anhat nad, the unstruck sound, what the Zen people call the sound of one hand clapping, the pranav, the omkar, and so on. So the internalization of each sense can bring you to the perception of the Atma in reality. The very pause between the action of the senses, the pause between one breath and the next, the pause between one thought and the other, there exists the Atma. There exists the essential life energy. It's like the structure of the atom. There are vast spaces in the atom, but that is its essential energy. So too with space, there are vast spaces. There is more space in outer space than there is matter. There's infinitely more empty space. But that itself is the life energy of, that itself is the consciousness energy of all things, which makes all things move. Otherwise, existence would just be a great big clutter of matter without any meaning. What brings it meaning is this deeper reality, this unseen reality, this dark matter, this dark reality, this dark energy at work, this absolute nothingness which seems like nothingness, but is actually the birthing field of the whole energy field that we call the cosmos. It's like the rishi calling his disciple and asking him to decipher what's in the seed of the Nyagrod tree. And the disciple keeps breaking the seed, and he tells the sage that there is nothing eventually. And the sage tells him, see, out of this nothingness has come everything. In the same way, we all belong to that nothingness. We all belong to that realm of the Atma. We all belong to that realm of spirit. Ultimately, the whole of reality is spiritual. It is imbued with spirituality and nothing else. Matter is only an outer manifestation of it. Matter is only a byproduct of that spirit. So, the whole vision of looking at the world changes. Then you feel that you're tremendously rich. Then you feel that life itself is so rich and it has imbued you with so much. All we need to do is create the space within ourselves for that great lotus of being to expand, that whole spiritual process to catalyze itself within us, so that we become more dynamic, so that there's a great explosion of our ability within ourselves to understand ourselves as spiritual people, as naturally mystical searchers on this beautiful journey through space and time.